People's Talk Show is starting now, and it's time for business. Let's talk about today's news and give me a call.
All right, we are live for a Tuesday edition of the People's Talk Show, and wanted to connect just because I was looking over in the Twitter sphere, and it's just so much, it's just so much noise right now that I wanted to connect and find out what you guys are keeping your eyes on, as well as talk about a couple other stories that caught my attention. Nothing really new, nothing really overly exciting, just more of the same for the most part. But I guess it's always good to stay ahead of the curve somewhat by trying to, I guess, talk through and try to better understand the predictive programming that is being thrown our way and the possible warnings or whatever. But it's just very interesting, the chain of events that are unfolding. So as always, wanted to connect and just, check in with the people and see what you guys are keeping your eyes on, and as well as just trying to make sense of all this craziness out here. But hope everyone's doing well. As always, any first-time viewers, let me know where you're watching from. Definitely let me know where you're watching from in the chat, as well as when the phone lines open up, give me a call. We'll love to hear from you guys and get a chance to hang out with my peoples a little bit. What else we got? I have maybe, let me see here. I got at least 15, 16 tabs open, all with things that just really, make you think. That's all. But one thing or a couple takeaways from all this hysteria is that for sure the Obamas they've probably already prepared the sequel to the Leave the World Behind, thriller, trilogy, drama, horror show, whatever you want to call it. And so I think a lot of this attention they're getting definitely plays into their favor. But then again, it gives some interesting conversations, or it gives some interesting table talks, rather, in hopes of people taking some of this stuff that people have been talking about serious. So we'll see and go from there. But then again, once again, if you've been plugged into the alternative media, you know that there's a lot of things happening under the surface. And so shouldn't be a surprise to anyone tuning in here. All right, so let me acknowledge a couple people, get into some headlines, open up the phone lines, and see where it takes us this evening. And as always, I want to make sure that everybody stays plugged in. So if you haven't, be a blessing, hit that thumbs up button, and make sure you click the bell notification so that you are notified when I do go live. And as I mentioned before, holiday season, so dialing back more, just enjoying some downtime from the internet. So I won't check in as much, but when I do or upload stuff, I want to make sure you guys are able to plug in. So okay, we got X checking in. Hey, you doing, my friend? We got Aaron checking in. We got MJ says, love the show, Mike. Sorry, Mile. Been hugging Zelensky to me. yeah. I posted that earlier in the Twitter sphere and Telegram. I mean, X says, thoughts on the Hercules Silver. Barrett Gold bought some equity in the company. Economic Engineer talked about this company. Hercules, Barrett Gold, Hercules Silver, Barrett Gold. Familiar with them. Haven't really dived into them. Haven't spoken with anybody on the team there. But then once again, I'd imagine that they're pretty legit, been in the game for a while, so definitely can't go wrong as long as you're getting your weight up first and foremost. And then if you're speculating in the mining shares, then that's a whole other ballpark there. So what else we got here? Okay. Yeah, Gene, appreciate you. Also, thanks for your help with reposting the links from the description. Thank you for your support there as well. Okay, let's get right into it, man. Let's get into it. So as always, I want to make sure I start off by continuing to encourage people to be prepared for whatever. You can call it warning, heads up, or just predictive programming, whatever it is. But most important thing is, of course, to make sure that you're ready for anything. And so, of course, having reserves on your own, food, water, shelter, energy, you name it. 4patriots.com/RTD gives you a chance to do just that. And so if you haven't, I encourage you guys to go over there and check them out, show them some love, as well as be a blessing to the channel. And also we got the Christmas coming up. So if you guys are interested and have not, a lot of things were revealed from that movie that should make you question and wonder. So you got to make sure you have a lot of backup of everything. So make sure you got your energy backed up as well. So they have a interesting solar generator there if you guys are interested. So feel free to check them out, and we go from there. Okay, so I want to start off with an article that caught my attention before I actually saw the Leave It Behind movie. And so I think before I saw the Leave It Behind movie, I think it was on Sunday. I think Steve, shout out to Steve who sent me an email about checking it out. I'm like, oh, because I don't really watch movies, so I wouldn't have watched it apart from it being recommended. But glad I did, just because Sunday night and Monday had me thinking, had my spidey senses going off all night, all day. Didn't really sleep all that well, just because I was thinking and trying to strategize on what were some hidden subliminal messages. I mean, it's just I'm sure everybody was probably the same, but anyway, so this is an interesting article that caught my attention. And so this came out, let me see, this was on the 9th. So that was on Friday. So this came out, on Saturday. And so when I read this, I was also looking at some other articles that kind of put all this together. And so this, to me, ties into the anything that's possible, 2024 and 2025, you never know. But this is from Leo Hallman on his Substack, but it was posted here on Gateway Pundit. But it says, enjoy this Christmas season. It may be the last one we have to celebrate in normal times. And so this is a little excerpt from the World Economic Forum warnings. It says, WF warns 2024 likely to bring cataclysmic changes. And so he's basically talking about Claus and his predictions on what's coming. We got Cyber Polygon and all the things that have been basically told ahead of time. And so this article here dives into it, and it also talks about this statement here. And it basically talks about, a cyber attack worse than this previous health ordeal, where there's a power grid down, banking offline, all that stuff that movie kind of represents. So this is what got me really thinking before I saw the movie. And then the next article I saw was this, and it had to do with the current polls basically showing Trump is winning. So once again, this political season is going to be one of the primary reasons, amongst many others, where there stands a chance of being a disruption in our day-to-day lives due to the establishment, the globalists, or whoever, really not being able to control things the way that they want, because more people are waking up, or this could be planned according to their script. I don't know. It's however we take it, but knowing that the majority of the country overwhelmingly is not satisfied with the current administration. And so it's very concerning when you have former President Trump, who's not even in any of the debates. He clearly is a landslide winner come these upcoming presidential election. And so the fact that he's already, for the most part, sealed the deal on the Republican side, and everybody on the left is slowly but surely working their way towards his camp, to where at this current moment, like the election fraud that they would need would have to be off the charts. And barring some type of health event where the ballots was the primary focal point, where they can continue to manipulate ballots, thousands of ballots out there. And, mind you, this is not like, I'm just making this up out the woods. Just, check the internet. There's been more than enough. And all the tight, all the states that were very tight and questionable, there's been more than enough ballots and fraud and people going to jail, people getting prosecuted now under the radar. So the stuff is real. The ballots they came out the woodworks. Okay. So point in case is, right now we have, a blow to Biden as polls shows Trump in lead for 2024 presidential election. And whether it's a part of the plan or distraction, we'll find out. But at this current trend, Trump is a clear favorite. There's nothing they can do on the Democratic side to even stand a chance at having a fair, well, they don't do fair anyway, but having a chance to get back in the White House for 2024 and beyond. So what better way to disrupt that other than to literally throw that curveball, or to give us what they wanted in the first place, which is a disruption in our day-to-day lives again, i.e. Cyber Polygon, for the sake of causing disarray. Mind you, the country's been flooded with millions of terrorists, foreigners, whatever you want to call them. And so you have a lot of foreigners in this country. You have a lot of citizens in this country clashing at the same time when the power goes off, energy goes off. So as a result of this stuff right here, these polls is coming out prematurely, showing how much it's a clear landslide victory, supposedly, for Trump, would make it a lot easier for them to throw some curveballs in the form of that cyber event, which could have been a part of the plan all along, or it could be used as a ace in the back pocket, given the current environment we're in. But we'll see. But the fact that it's already been planned is not a surprise because we've been talking about this for quite some time. And so this is just a World Economic Forum page from 2022. It says, what happens when the internet shuts down? And then it goes through just scenarios of what happens. And it's geared towards and during times when governments lose control, how they tend to censor by cutting off the internet. And so it says internet shutdowns are intentional disruptions to internet access and digital communications. Shutdowns are a common tactic that governments use to suppress dissent. It says shutting off the internet in times of political upheaval, civil unrest, and instability is one of the key building blocks for authoritarianism. And so the fact that they are literally game playing things in real time lets us know that, it's just definitely a part of their plans. Keep it moving. Then here's another little video that popped up 7 days ago, but it's from an older video. But as you guys can see here, it says a cyber attack with the health situation like characteristics. And then it goes on to talk about, this is an old video we talked about before, but it was reposted again on World Economic Forum's page 7 days ago. So this is a fresh, a newly posted repost rather. So here we go. Presidential election coming up. Things are not looking favorable for the establishment. So what better way to keep things, in disarray other than throw something crazy at us? And then you got this movie, and this is what's getting everybody all fired up. Keep it moving. This is just a headline that caught my attention. It says Obama produced Netflix thriller bashes white people, warns they can't be trusted. And this has everything to do with that little scene of the dad and the daughter in the bed. And, the daughter basically saying that, I need to know you got my back. We can't trust these white folks. We don't know them, whatever. You know how the whole thing played out. And so here we go, the divide and conquer right now, literally. So this is getting picked up in a variety of circles all across the country. And so it's more division that's being put out there amongst the public, which is a part of the strategy from the movie. I think it was the 3 steps that I forgot the actor's name, but the 3 steps he shared with the other actor in the car. And one of them was separating communication so that they all turn on themselves. So yeah, okay, keep it moving. But I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on this. But I was just looking at a lot of the internet buzz out here now. So a lot of stuff out here buzzing, a lot of things trending. And so here's just a screenshot from the actual movie. And a circle, it says, no internet, no phones, no going back to normal. And so I just showed you the World Economic Forum's headlines about an event coming and no internet. So, whatever, we'll keep it moving. And so I got just a lot of different. So this is the same little clip I showed you guys, but a lot of these are just clips that people shared. And so this was very interesting. I didn't really peep this one, but it says predictive programming in the new movie Leave the World Behind. It says a hidden QR code appears. Let me move us out of here. Appears briefly over a cyber attack power outages map during the movie. So this may be worth taking a closer look. We know they have to tell us. So this is just a TV screen for the movie. When you get above Kentucky, the person zooms in here, you get a QR code. And I'm thinking like this QR code here, I dang sure wouldn't scan it because ain't no telling what's on the other side of that QR code. But I mean, think about the amount of attention to detail that was put into this movie because I'm seeing people extract all types of things. And of course, if you go looking for it, you'll find it. You'll find whatever you want to support your argument in this movie because it's a lot of stuff there. But I was scrolling down and you can see some more. Like this person here turned the emergency screen in the bunker upside down, and look what he found: 666. And so I thought this was very interesting. And some more things down here that people were able to find. And I'll let you guys figure the rest of it out. But anyway, keep it moving. And so here's another one. In the bedroom scene, you put the 76ers cup together. You put the clock on the nightstand at 6. You put the other clock on the other nightstand. They showing a 6. You get 3 6s. And it's like the level of the attention to detail is just that fine in these movies. It's always been for a variety of movies, but a lot of thought goes into this. And of course, it could be a heads up, it could be a warning, or it just could be some hype to get people all up in a bunch, which it clearly is doing. So that's one of the things I want to touch on. And so I will curious to get your guys' thoughts on that. And then just a couple other things that caught my attention in the news. We'll jump on that. And so I literally, like within the last couple of hours, Milei, now that he's officially the president, a lot of questionable things happening. And so he ran on the idea of canceling the central bank. He hasn't done that. He's, limited some of the overall staff, went from 18 cabinets down to 9. Okay, sure. But there's 2 or 3 other really big things that he has, I guess, reneged upon that leads people to question, as always. So these are all the things I said, just wait and see. First couple of days that tell us a lot. But this is something that is really crucial here, because not only were the Argentinian people already struggling with issues here, but then you give them a haircut straight off the top. You take off 54% first day, first 24 hours, or first 48 hours of being president. You shave off 54% of what they already don't have in the form of purchasing power. And people who literally, which are a good portion of the lower income earners, the middle class has already been decimated there. So it's not even a matter of having a middle class. And this is a result of what happens when you have currency debasement at this magnitude, aka hyperinflationary style events, where the middle class, the working class, it goes from, let me demonstrate. It goes from the have-nots, the working class, which supports and keep the economy running, to those that are dependent upon the government. And when stuff like this happen, this middle working class literally just boom, either you have or you have not. That's just simply how it goes. And unfortunately, people there on average, overwhelming majority don't have. And so that's why they run to dollars. And so the probability of him dollarizing the economy is probably really great now, because you taking off all this currency off top. What else do the people have? And so they're going to definitely run to dollars. So interesting stuff here. But then it had me thinking of, my last time in Argentina was 2014-15. And so when I was there last, I brought back a couple of bills. And so this was 100 peso note, which is literally, it's like at this current moment, the exchange ratio, they got the blue note, which is, let me see here. So let me get through this real quick. It says here, the newly, actually, let me go back on the screen so you guys can see what I see. And I was actually thinking about, like, I might go down there again, beginning of the year, just for the experience of seeing what it's like to live in an environment like that, man. It says the newly inaugurated administration weakened the official exchange rate to 800 pesos per dollar. It says the economist minister said in a televised address after the close of local markets on Tuesday. So once the markets closed on Tuesday, a televised address across the country to all, I think is 40 million or so Argentinians. TV comes on, breaking news, emergency across the screen. Economy minister. Unfortunately, due to whatever, we're, devaluing the peso. We have to, due to IMF recommendations, austerity. Okay, it says, so it was 366 per dollar. This is the government ratio. So right now on the streets, it's probably 1,500 to $1, just like that. So markets close, haircut happens, people lose out. And so literally right now, if you had pesos in the bank, it's a wrap. But my point was, real quick. So I was just going through and I grabbed one of my old pesos here. So this 100 peso is not even in circulation no more. Like, this bill is so worthless that, this is probably the equivalent of maybe a nickel. This is probably a nickel or 10 cents type of, value. So it's not even usable, because you need a 2,000 note. And I think they got the 5,000 note now. So I actually took this when I left Argentina last time, because I knew this was going to be a historical note of just a demonstration of history. And so the purchasing power that when I first got this, I think this was $20. This is worth $20 when I first had this. And then to go back, when I first lived there, it was $35. So that was 6 years before. So $35 to $20 to 10 cents. So having this note has been a reminder of me of what happens when governments fail the people. Monetary policy literally siphons your wealth away. But then again, that's all a part of their agenda. That's all a part of their goal. So nothing new to them. It's just unheard of to us. But then again, like same policies, same procedures, same currency system, same structure. Financial repression is a mother sucker at the end of the day. So I thought that was interesting. So this plays into Milei. And then the next thing here, this is literally like within the last hour, I saw this. It says Argentina's economy minister, Luis Caputo, a former Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan banker, has tapped longtime colleague Santiago Bosilli, a former Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan banker, to run Argentina's central bank. And it says here, guess Milei won't be doing away with the central bank after all. So not only as of right now, he didn't cancel the bank in the bank, he hired bankers to run the bank. So I wonder if the people in Argentina see this as like, oh, he lied or what. But he did what he's supposed to do. He said what he had to say to get in. This little picture here lets you know that, he's aware of what the globalists want. And so, yeah, shouldn't be surprised anybody. Don't trust no politicians. Period. I don't care what they say or what they promise. Yeah. So here's another little thing. He says, this is Milei saying, we do not make pacts with communists. And this is, so as of today, when he was inaugurated on Monday, Milei sent a letter to Xi Jinping requesting the renewal of the swap line, and the foreign ministry is preparing to direct contact between the two. So literally, he's still wanting yuan, the yuanification that I've talked about in the other video, to still take place because the IMF wants it. So the IMF has allowed the yuan into the basket of currencies that can be used for swaps, trade, and debt issuance. And so literally the IMF told him that in order for us to restructure this debt, you got to play along with some things, i.e. keep the yuan in play, which means you got to buddy up to China to make sure that stays in place. And he joined the Paris Peace Agreement and what else, whatever else you name it. So yeah, I'm sure people realize by now they were let down big time. Okay, what else we got here? Just on some last note here, some other things caught my attention. Just from James Anderson from SD Bullion. And so just to let you know that the metals are still highly sought after, regardless of the price. And I'm going to touch on that in a minute. It looks like I saw something about 7 days continual slamming of the price. Not surprising. Great opportunity for those who realize the power of getting your weight up. But it says here, just over 6+ million ounces of silver imported to Turkey last month in November, a record high. So it looks like Turkey is getting their weight up when it comes to silver. So yeah, they may talk about one thing, but they're doing the complete opposite. So just something to pay attention to. The physical don't lie. And then this is some TF Metals reports. He says, let me get myself out the way here. It says the silver price has fallen 7 days in a row. As you can see below, outside of the initial smash on Sunday evening, December 3rd, the selling has been a COMEX-based event. Red arrows denote COMEX open. Blue arrows denote COMEX close. So literally 7 days straight, slam down, close, slam down, close, slam down, close, slam down, close, slam down, close. So you can see the work needed to dump millions of tons of paper onto the market to keep the price at a level to where people are no longer confident in the metal. So, okay. So yeah, so basically just going to be a great setup for 2024 and beyond. Okay. Last couple articles here. Looks like there was a cyber event in Ukraine. And of course, we're blaming it on the Russians. Major cyber attack in Ukrainian mobile operator disrupts banking services and air raid sirens. So yeah, a lot of cyber. And of course, without delay, Zelensky was in the White House today. And this handshake that took place right about here, let me give it this handshake that took place right about, let me get this right. Where'd it go? Start up again. Right there. That handshake that took place right there was a $200 million handshake of U.S. aid. Biden said, I just signed another $200 million drawdown from the Department of Defense for Ukraine. So Biden's still out there shaking hands, passing funds. And the last little note here, more of what's happening in Main Street outside of the fake CPI numbers. Hasbro cuts 1,100 jobs. Okay, so yeah, we know nothing new really, but interesting time to say the least. So That's kind of the things that caught my attention. Just scanning through the headlines, share my 2 cents on things. But curious to hear what you guys think, man. As always, let's get the phone lines open real quick. Want to hear from you guys. I'll give you guys a chance to let your voice be heard if I can find all my tabs here. And so, for those who don't know, let me get this right. Let me open this up right so you guys can see the number right there. So, if you want to give me a call, I would love to get your thoughts on things, especially with this Leave It Behind movie. What are your thoughts about it? Hype, hope, or just some good entertainment? And as I started off, for those who just plugging in, I said wait till the sequel, because from all the attention they're getting with this movie here, you better believe they got something in store for the follow up to this. So, and I'm sure it won't be fun. It won't be pretty. It'll play on the same events that we see here. But anyway, let me get the phone lines open and we can talk momentarily and see where it takes us. Trying to hopefully get things better organized on my end here. And for those who are just plugged in, if you haven't, hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. Let's see if we can get somebody on here. Let me see. The app is loading. I see people calling. Give me 1 second here. Trying to connect a different speaker so that hopefully the audio quality will be better, but the app is not opening fast enough. So, and as always, I forgot, throw out some thoughts, ideas, suggestions, or in the chat and let me know what you guys are keeping your eyes on. There's a lot more events out there that I have not touched. Let me, if I can get well, give me a second. I should have been prepared, but it's not opening up. 1 second. Let me see. I hear something. I hear somebody. Hold on 1 second. I'm waiting on the screen to open up because I can't hear you directly. But Betty, let me just skip that. Let me go. 1 second here. Let me get this going. All right. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from? Oops. Hello?
Hey, Mike. It's Ed. How you doing?
Hey, doing good, my friend. What's on your mind tonight?
The whole Argentina, when they debase that currency, 54%, doesn't that strengthen the American dollar?
It does, because I believe it puts them in a position there because they're already a dollarized economy. It makes them ultimately have to probably buy more dollars, I think. It makes paying off their current debts, but the debts they owe is not in their own currency. And so they'll need more dollars ultimately to pay off the debts they do have. And so it hurts their currency and definitely strengthens ours because they're going to need more dollars, and the yuan as well, because a lot of that has to do with the debt issue in the yuan as well. So it'll be like a 3 currency mix up going up between the dollar, yuan, and the peso. But they're going to have to literally create more pesos to try to buy dollars of whatever, and to then also buy the yuan to meet the yuan loans as well. So it's like a trifecta down there. But then again, it hurts the average citizen down there for sure.
Right. Is that a big enough economy that it have effect on the world stage, like the...
No, not at all.
Give the dollar.
Not at all. Not at all. It won't, just because the Argentinian peso, well before now, was not worth anything to anybody other than the 40 million citizens there. And one of the benefits, one of the hindrances that this type of activity has is that the politicians and in the government and the uber wealthy, they are able to take advantage of this arbitrage situation by them debasing the currency from 365 to 800. When they sell the currencies they have or whatever, they're going to actually earn more purchasing power when they get out of it, going into dollars or yuan. So it ultimately helps the uber wealthy, because that middle gap of that debasement that just took place, it literally will put more currency into the hands of the people who knew this debasement was coming. So it's just the average person that works, save, and invest in the peso that's literally getting that 54% haircut on top of everything else they've already lost. But I would imagine at this current moment, most people there already have dollarized their personal finances, because dollars circulate there very heavily. So other than the people who are dependent upon government subsidies and stuff like that, those are the people who are even less off, because the average person that still works probably use dollars anyway. So it's just, the numbers look bad, but in actuality, they've been dealing with this for 10 plus years. So they've had much time. They have a lot of time to maneuver around this to where it's not impacting them directly the way that the news would make it seem, I think.
and the poor gets poorer.
Correct. And the rich gets richer. Because you better believe before that announcement was made, a lot of people moved a lot of pesos around to profit off this. Anyway, go ahead.
I want to just make a comment on the movie.
Go ahead.
I mean, this is basically put out by the enemy. So the enemy tries to distract and drive us apart. But why would we play into that? You know, I first got excited. I'm like, oh, I want to hear what they're saying, man. What's this? What's this? What's this? And, you know, that they want to divide us and they want to distract us. And I think the movie does both. I'm not going to pay it any attention at all.
Yeah, I hear you. And I think it creates a new buzz. It creates a new conversation out there where a lot of people who may not have been aware of the need to, I guess, prepare for events like this, because, you know, the COVID situation definitely got people attention with toilet paper and food and stuff like that got people's attention. And so now there might be a few more people who follow people who talk about, you know, the cyber pandemic and claw swab and stuff like that, to where they may now actually go out and get a little some extra as far as food and anything else to help them prepare. So some people can be woken up from this type of stuff as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And, you know, just a couple of major things the last couple of days, you know, Alex Jones got reinstated to Twitter. That's going to wake some people up. And then Tucker Carlson today announced he's going to have his own channel.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, with the time we have between now and the next time something happens, everybody's expecting something to happen. It gives other people a chance to do some type of preparation. But like the movie said, like the guy said in the movie, is like, you know, you really can't prepare for it. It's just, you know, you want to have a heads up. That's it. If you got a heads up, you're a little bit better off. You'll know not to leave. You'll know not to leave the house that day if you are aware of events that could be trigger points, possibly. I would hate to be out and about on the other side of town and all of a sudden stuff shut down and traffic jams, and now you're trying to get back just to your house. Worst case scenario. So, I mean, who knows, man? But, you know, it's meant to be entertaining. But then again, there's so many subliminal things in there that you can extract from there, such as the one prepper guy. What's his name? Bacon, I think. I don't know his name, but one prepper guy who was at the store at the beginning of the movie, he turned to be the guy who was able to hopefully save a kid's life. And even with that transaction of him getting paper in exchange for those pills, the paper, like he was counting $1,000 on the porch, was like, what good is the paper? Because ain't no commerce around you. But it was a barterable item that he accepted. So a lot of little things that, you know, I can pick up on, man, about having the most probably not necessarily unnecessary, but the most unthought of items handy, just because it might be something that somebody else need, and you can get what you need if need be. So yeah, that's it, man.
You know, I see some of my family waking up the last 2 years, but, you know, so far it's a slow move. I started in 2008. First thing I did was buy a little silver and gold, you know. Next thing I know, you know, as the years evolved, I became aware. So I think it's kind of like the lines have been drawn. Either you're aware of what's going on and you've prepped and you've thought about this and, you know, got things ready, or you're not going to buy into it either way. But it can't hurt. We just got to keep telling the truth and hope they believe it.
Right, exactly. And just enjoy life while it is what it is right now, because it's still like we're not in an environment like that. So that's a gift and a blessing. Just the fact they're working towards that is sick and twisted. But then again, we know who's the overseer of this current environment and time frame we're in. So it's to be expected, you know, death and destruction. So appreciate you, man.
Yeah, one other thing, there's a Mexican golfer back in the day, and he said, you know, I grew up hungry, and he said, every day for the rest of my life, God has blessed me. I'm eating a steak for dinner.
I hear you, man. Appreciate you. Good talking to you, man. Bye. Yeah, good stuff. Appreciate the call. Yeah, phone lines are open. Hopefully I can get to more calls. Well, give me a call, man. So that's the thing. Like, I see so many hidden messages and all types of things in there. This movie is going to go down as one of them movies that people are going to write. Somebody going to write a book about the movie. That's how twisted it is. They're going to write a book about the movie. The book is from a movie. The movie's from a book, but they're going to write an alternative media spin on it with all the conspiracies and all the, you know, propaganda and all this, you know, psyop stuff in there. So yeah, the internet gonna be buzzing for the next couple of days, man. Supernatural says the globalists are using the divide to conquer by pushing hate between races, black and white, pushing the slaving story to brainwash young people, ideologies, and any kind of division. 100%. Divide and conquer. That's their ultimate agenda. And as I mentioned this before, to go back to the car scene after they got the pills and I don't know the actors' names, but the guy who driving the Bentley, he basically told him, I need to, know you ride with me. And then he gave him the three things that's at play right now. So the three things that was at play then, I'm sorry. I mean, it's an entertaining movie. It definitely makes you think. It makes you think even deeper if you're awake and aware and in tune with what the enemy's doing, knowingly, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so the fact that you have people, when I say people, I'm talking about, those that hate humanity, the World Economic Forum and not type. When you got those type of people out here planning all types of very dark and doom like scenarios for humanity, it just lets you know that they're working towards something. And every event that occurs is like an event that is being done intentionally. Like nothing is accidental at this current moment. And so, speaking real quick about some of the events in the movie that did not make sense, the weather patterns. And so it was a cyber event, supposedly along the East Coast, whatever, spread throughout the West, entire little map that they gave us. But the weather pattern was disrupted to where you had the flamingos in the pool up in New York. And then you had the deer that were like surrounding the family and stuff like that, to where I'm like, like how will a cyber event disrupt disrupt nature? So it's like that. Those are things I didn't really get. And then you had that loud sound over the out in the air that was like out of the sky, whatever that was. So there's a lot of extras in there. I'm like, okay, so what does that resemble? What does that mean? What is that? So who knows? But they worked hard to try to pull that off, to make it very convincing. And apparently it is doing its job. Yeah, interesting times. What else we got here? The phone. Let me see. Did I miss some calls? Yeah, I missed some calls. Forgive me. Doing too much ranting. Trying to get my app to open up officially so I can speak. Hello, caller. Where we calling from?
Yeah, Mike, Steve.
Steve, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, just talking about the movie and everything.
Yeah.
And, basically, people really, and I can't emphasize this any more than I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is all spiritual, and keep up with that Bible, or else you're not going to understand what's going on. Like the character Kevin Bacon said in the movie. Haven't you been picking up on what's been going on out here?
Right. And
yeah,
so,
that's what he said, and he's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
With that, I think I first sent you something regarding this movie back in October.
Yeah, you did, and I just this last heads up.
Back in October.
This last heads up is what I actually watched.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's the kicker. There's other stuff in the movie. They know what they're doing. They're throwing it in our face like we're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So I would heed warning to what came out in that movie.
Yeah.
It's not by accident that this movie's coming out at this time, etc. Then to find out that the Obamas are behind executive producers of the movie.
Yeah.
And here's another thing with this. Here's another thing with this. And then I'll let you go ahead and chime in.
Mm-hmm.
At the incident where the two young ladies, Julia Roberts and the girl, are at the shed, and the deer are surrounding them or whatever. If you go to 35 minutes left in the show, so everybody can either go back after the show and check this. At 35 minutes left in the movie, that's when Julia Roberts and the other girl are out there near that shed.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. There's a crop circle there. There's a crop circle right by the shed. There's a crop circle underneath the leaves. I took a snapshot of it, and I sent it to you on your email there.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a crop circle underneath the leaves there.
Okay, let me pull it up. Okay. So I got it on the screen here. So I see. Okay, I see the image.
Yeah, there's crop circle beneath those leaves.
Interesting. Like it's hard to see in the photo, but I see a deliberate pattern of some kind.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a crop circle, and then here's the other thing. There was a scene in the movie where it was just the boy and the little girl out in that shed, and there was a pile of leaves in the shed.
Right.
The guy says, well, maybe it was whoever was sleeping there. That never was addressed in the rest of the movie.
Right.
It was just that little statement by him, and that crop circle right outside
So that imprint in the leaves in the shell in the shed. Cool. That the brother was saying that he probably is looking at the window, looking at you right now. So that's one of the things where it's like, a little bit extra, or like, who's that who's that person, or so it's it's a lot for us to read into if we want to. So
exactly, yeah, that person or whatever it was.
Yeah,
but the crop circle is pretty clear, just sitting right outside the shed.
Yeah.
All of this stuff is spiritual, guys. They're shoving it in the face, telling you you're too stupid to see it.
Yeah. And now watch this. Watch this. So Kevin Bacon, I think so the prepper's role in that, like, well before that, he'd have been looking mighty crazy going to the store, grabbing all the stuff he grabbed, water and everything in between, literally like the day before. So how he knew the day before, who knows? But he knew, and he said his friend out in California, he talked to his friend out in California the day before, and they dropped flyers out of the sky. And so he said the flyers were Korean or Russian or China, or whatever he said. So I think that's how he might have got the heads up the day before. But at that time, he would have been considered cuckoo or crazy for doing all that prepping. But then once stuff hit the fan, he was the go-to guy. You know what I'm saying? He was the guy that everybody knew who had the ability to help. So, the question is, do you want to be that guy? You know what I'm saying? That's known to be able to help, because you're gonna get you're gonna get more knocks on your door than you want.
I'm going to be Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's like, hey, I've been telling you guys about this, and it's they're doing it right. It's so embarrassing and so insulting to me.
Yeah.
That they're putting it right in front of your face.
Right.
And people are still talking about Bitcoin.
Like, so what good would Bitcoin do when you can't get on your phone or there's no internet? So
exactly, guys, it's real, it's spiritual, and I assume that they may have a part 2 coming up.
They gotta have one. With all the attention this one getting, you gotta have one. Now the question is what that's gonna be about. So
and like I said, they got a freaking crop circle right outside the shed, and then that little comment by the guy, and it was never just not the entire movie after that. It was just that one little statement from him. Maybe it was whoever was sleeping there, that pile of leaves,
right?
Or what was sleeping in that pile of leaves.
Hey, but listen, man, let me get some more calls in, man. I appreciate you calling.
All right, bro.
Be good.
God bless.
Hello, caller. Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Zach calling from Denver, Colorado.
Zach from Denver. What's going on, man? I'm doing too much talking, so if you don't mind, I don't mean to cut you short, but I want to get some more calls in. But what's on your mind, man?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I was thinking. I mean, I've been thinking about this Fed situation and the fiat dollar and how corrupt it's been, and how we've been living in a world of cheaters for me. I've been really thinking about it for about 11 years, and I've got a son, and every time I pick him up from school, I ask him, are there any bullies and any cheaters? And he told me about this kid who was cheating at a game, and I could have told him to fight the guy. I could have told him to complain, but actually I wanted him to win.
Yeah.
And so I told him to use the cheater's rules against him. And so he did the play that the cheater did and said, well, that means that you're out of the game. And the cheater didn't have anybody to exploit at that point. And what does all this mean is, you know, the Fed, we're sitting around and complaining and, you know, trying to like call the Fed out. There's actually a way for us to get it caused. And that is we can take out loans. And because those loans are fraudulent, the Fed is basically cooking the books. The banks are cooking the books every time they create a dollar. They're doing nothing more than what Bernie, Madoff, and Enron were doing. And so we can take out loans, take out credit cards, run up our credit cards, buy gold and silver. I just bought a Porsche 911 and a Lexus GX. I'm not going to pay it back.
Are you serious?
And and the reason why is on the basis of fraud. They're cooking the books on assets, and then we're going to be able to expose them. You know, from nothing, loans are made, and with nothing, loans are paid. And that'll be the end of it. We can actually cause the end of this thing.
Okay, that sounds like the LBP model over here. So yeah, that method has been mentioned before, and so I figure if you consciously feel that is something that if it sits well with you, rock yourself out. Me personally, that concept doesn't sit well with me. So my conscience wouldn't let me do it if I wanted to. So that's just me though. So
there's no sense in playing a game when you've got your hands tied behind your back.
100%. But there's also other methods. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't purposely support. And so I guess our greatest support would be still paying taxes. So taking all this debt out, but yet then still paying taxes as well. It's like, okay, it's counterbalancing. They're still getting their cut out of what is fictitious.
Absolutely. You do not pay taxes on the same basis. If the government can steal from you, then you can steal from the government. If you can't, then they can't.
Yeah. So
that's the logic of it.
If that's your approach, you're a bad man. I wish you the best, man. But I get what you're saying though. But
go check out the Twitter feed for the Federal Reserve. Their tweet about the FOMC meeting tomorrow at 2:30.
Yeah.
I posted some stuff on there exposing them. So yeah, I think it's going to end very soon, and we can actually cause it and not sit around passively and wait about it.
Hey, I hear you, man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate your call, man. Yeah, be safe in that Porsche, man. Don't drive too fast now. That's a lot of power there, man.
Oh boy, it is sweet, and thank you, Chase Bank, for buying it for me.
Hey, man, be good.
Nice to see you, man.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Yeah, man. I drove a Porsche 911 Turbo. Whew, I'll tell you, boy. Yeah. Man, it is an experience, boy. Knock your socks off. Anyway, what we got here? Yeah, so I mean, everybody got their own approach. Everybody got their own methodology to what they do. More power to you, man. As long as your conscience can live with it, then do you, man. Just I couldn't. That's just not my approach. Like I'm in the world, but not of it. So like not necessarily. Perhaps I might come across as one that complains about the Fed, but I really don't. Just because, part of the solution would be to become your own banker. And that is the part about getting your own weight up and being less dependent on the system as best as you can, knowing that if stuff hit the fan, you're going to be subjected to the rest of the events that happen to everybody else. But then again, you won't possibly be as worse off. So yeah, like as far as like trying to get ahead and stuff like that, I just like, God, yeah, I don't know. Everybody got their own way. What else we got here? I'm missing some calls. Let me see here. Yeah. Hello, Carl O'Shane. Where you calling from?
Yeah, Mike, Steve Pimmer, reaching out again, bro.
Steve, yeah. What's up? Give me some.
Hey, just forgot to do one other thing. In that movie, I'm gonna go back to the movie again. In that movie, the kid, the boy, and the girl. Most of the times that they're pictured in that movie together like that, it normally has the kid wearing that Obama T-shirt that said "Obey," and the girl is normally standing next to him that has a NASA or Space Force T-shirt. They're normally standing right next to each other where it says "Obey."
Yeah.
Obey this or that.
See, that's an in-depth look. I wouldn't even put that together. That's looking in great detail.
I mean, that's the cop part of me, man.
Hey, I hear you, man. Good way to give us something to keep our eyes on. Thanks, man.
But then I forgot to bring up Moore versus the U.S. on how they're going to take people's property and stuff.
Give it to me.
And that's in the that's in your email. I send it like in 3-part thing. But basically, there's a case, Moore versus the United States, where they're basically going to tax you on
unrealized gains,
paper, your unrealized gains, and that's sitting right there in the court system right now. So basically, they can get you on anything.
Yeah.
You have equity in your house. Oh well, for this year, this is what it says. So you can see how that would bankrupt a homeowner, or etc. If that makes sense.
Right. It does. I saw that. And also, like when it comes to just any asset you have, like the capital gains, if they can literally say that we want next year's cut out of it, that means you have to liquidate it at that moment to give them next year's cut or whatever year they want. So it literally plays into the idea of you own nothing. Like, because if you can't literally hold your property for long-term periods, then do you really even own it? So it will belong to them in a sense. So
correct. You can't even hold it for a year.
Right.
Because they're going to tax you each year.
Right.
And it's just going to do you. So I would go back to this again, and I'll go ahead and get up the phone and listen to the other callers. This is a good show tonight, man.
Yeah.
People, this is spiritual, and this dude, you can call him what you want. Beelzebub, Satan, the Antichrist. This dude's coming, and it's quite obvious.
Yeah.
And they're telling you. They're telling you to your face.
Yeah. And they're not shy. They're not shy about it anymore.
No, they're not shy about it anymore. And especially to put their names on it, executive producers.
Yeah. Hey man, appreciate you, man.
All right.
Be good. Yeah. Let me see here. Another note, something that is important. Let me real quick. I just brought back to mind something I shared in Telegram that is potentially as dangerous as the Patriot Act. And so this was posted as of yesterday. It says buried in the House. Let me make sure it's on the screen. Yeah, it says buried in the House Intelligence Committee Section 702 reform bill, which is scheduled for a floor vote as soon as tomorrow, meaning today, is the biggest expansion of surveillance in the United States since the Patriot Act of yesteryears. And so when you read into this more, let me see, it is not here, but I did a little research on it. And ultimately, with this Intelligence Committee Section 02 reform bill, within that bill, what they've crammed in there is the ability for the government to literally, without due process, extract or demand all of your data from telecommunications agencies, internet agencies, anything to do with the internet outside of what they already can see and do. They can outright get it and use it and not even have to have permission or nothing. It's literally like it's like an open book at the end of the day. So they can probably, if they haven't already, I mean, what is it? NSA already is able to see and track and trace everything illegally, but then again, it's so hush. But if this bill goes through here, they can do it open book and literally plug the government directly into all the telecommunications company verbatim. So they can see everything you do on your phone, on your laptop, whatever. If you connect to the internet, they can see it in real time. That's how invasive this current bill is on top of whatever else is in there. So that bill is hush hush. I haven't seen nothing about it apart from somebody sharing it with me on Twitter. So just a little bit of what the enemy's doing out there. So anyway, never a dull moment, man. So all the events be happening on the surface, but they're still working overtime underneath the surface. And these are the things that when I come across them, I try to bring it to everybody's attention so you'll be aware of it. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, apart from just shining light on it, hoping that more eyes come across this information, more people make a fuss on social media, and hopefully the people who are very active and reaching out to their representatives and stuff like that, they can put a call in and say, we don't want that, deny this, cancel this. So hopefully bit by bit change like that can take place. But ultimately speaking, if it don't work this time, they're going to get to work after the next crises. Because what I think with this whole movie situation is if we come into 2024 election, it looks like it's a clear landslide which it looks like it is already, that Trump is already the favorite. And on another thing, this is so not only are they dividing and conquering with this movie, but then again, like right now, I've noticed that over the last several weeks, when you type in like blacks for Trump, like there's a movement going on right now where you got a lot of celebrities like right now out endorsing Trump. You got blacks for Trump, period. We got just stuff all Chicago, inner city blacks for Trump, Chicago. So you have everybody in those overly ran Democratic states that are literally jumping ship now to where they can't really get away with what they've been doing and and having people think that they're the party for the Mexicans or the black people or whatever. So you got people out here jumping on the Trump train like never before, and when you can't control that, what do? You cut the lights out, you cut the internet out, or whatever you got to do to pull off some type of event. And the result of that will be in order to get back on the internet. So this is another one, big one that was retweeted. Waka Flocka, musician, posted, okay, then Big Trump. So you got entertainers, celebrities, you name it, posting all types of favorable Trump stuff. Literally, his fan base is growing, and the indictment situation is still underway, or whatever the prosecution. So he could literally probably get the nomination for the Republican Party in jail and be elected president in jail. So imagine how crazy that's going to be if it gets to that point. So long story short, we're in a world of chaos. Nothing makes sense. This is the real world Twilight Zone. Expect the worst, but prepare for the best and be thankful for what you have today is what I'm getting at. So what else? What else do we see here? People watching. All right. Well, we at that hour point, and so about to bring it in a home base. But as always, for those who plugged in, the goal was just to check in, hear from you guys, see what you're keeping your eyes on, and of course, a lot of people are plugged into a variety of other things. But this is just some things that I think is worth sharing your opinion on. So. Hope everyone have a great evening, great morning, wherever you're watching this from. And I will check you later, my good people.